Bitcoin, we start with daily chart. Just I want to give a quick update. First of all, there was no much update since I give update from my last analysis because as we can see, the price is within the correction. And even if you refer to my last analysis, when the price was within this move, I mentioned any reversal as a corrective. We need to be very careful. Any trade will be a short-term trade because I mentioned we are expecting for the next drop, and that's what we get. All right. The only things I add if the price continue and we see the breakout of 28,300 as a short move, then from there we can look for continuation. That's why I mentioned we will expect to get one more drop. And the reason is we wanted to see the breakout of the previous low before we look for the reversal as a long term. And as you can see, the price tag, the previous low, there was a reversal, was a short term. All right. Now, we can expect this correction turn to a deeper correction before we look for the trade as a long term. And in this case, we move to higher time frame. We move to weekly chart, right? And based on weekly chart, as we can see, we are looking for this correction. And we want to see if we want to put this correction relative to what we have here as a flat for the next drop, then we need to be quite careful. Even if the price reverse from here, any opportunity for buy within this one will be as a short-term trade because we can expect this one turn to flat for the next drop before we look for the next reversal as a long term. If we want to look at this one as a flat, running flat, all right. Then now the question is how to look for trade. For me, if I want to look for the long-term trade as a reversal, I prefer to see the price break the lowest price of this correction. And if the price break, then we can expect the price drop to 14,600 or 10,700. This is the zone we are looking for. That means if you want to look for buy as a reversal, we have to see the breakout of this correction before we take the next trade. But as we can see, the price is at the lowest price of this correction. But if the price couldn't break the lowest price of this correction, mostly we look for the shadow. That means if the price reverse from here without the breakout of the previous low, as I mentioned, any opportunity for buy within this range will be a short-term trade because we can look for this one as a flat in relative to what we have here. Okay. Anyway, we have to wait and see whether the price can break the previous low or not. And at this point, we don't see any good confirmation to look for the reversal as a long term. And if the price could break the previous low, then from the even based on weekly chart, mostly we can look for the divergence. But at this point, we have to wait. And even if we move to daily chart, similar explanation. We want to see whether the price can break the lowest price of this correction. We want to see the breakout following by divergence daily and weekly. Then if we get this opportunity, any reversal from there, we can look for buy as a long term. But if the price tagged the lowest price and there was no breakout, any reversal, any opportunity for buy will be as a short term within this range in relative to what we have here as a flat. We need to be quite careful about this opportunity. All right. This is what I'm looking for. And at this point, I don't see any trade setup either for buy or sell. We have to wait. If the price couldn't break, any reversal will be short term. If we see the breakout, then we have to look for the divergence. Then from there, we can look for the long-term trade. And mostly we are looking for the long-term trade. And as I mentioned, we don't have any trade setup, even based on forward chart. Any reversal will be a short-term trade as a sharp move flag. But at this point, I don't see any trade setup. And as I mentioned, we don't have any trade setup based on forward and 1 hour chart. And for me, personally, I'm looking at the daily chart. I want to see what we will get here, whether the price can break. This is what I'm looking for, the best option. But if there was no breakout, then we can look for trade within this range as a short-term trade based on lower time frame. Anyway, still we are within this correction, and mostly if the price couldn't break the lowest price of this correction, then we can expect this correction become more complicated, and we will be within the correction for the longer time before we look for the reversal as a long term. And in this case, we just follow the chart. If I see any update, I will give if I see any trade setup, then I will give update. Anyway, we just follow the chart and we'll see what we get. Thanks.